Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Golf. Jeff Erickson here with Scott Jenstad and Jeff Ritter today. We got everybody back together here. Although Jeff Ritter was here last week. I should say Jeff Ritter and Scott Jenstad, but we got the brains behind the operation here. And Jeff is the narrative guy. No, I'm just kind of mapping it out that way. You divorced yourself from a certain golfer, so we did that. We exercised that last week. We've got a pretty lousy tournament this week in the Rocket Mortgage Classic, at least in terms of the field. It's a birdie fest. You know, it's still something though. You can still DraftKings is still running contests. People still bet. So let's do our best with it. Last year, Bryson DeChambeau won. Matthew Wolff had a big run the year before. Made a big run at it as well. 2 years ago is the Nate Lashley show, and that was a pretty cool event there because he qualified and then won. Life-changing event for him. So good things can still result from a smaller contest.
Yeah. So, first, I thank you for mentioning last week's exorcism. I'm on a bit of a cold streak with picks. So I think I need Jenstad around to just keep me sharp, raise my game, and also hold me accountable when the picks are just horrendous. So
my biggest disappointment from not being able to join last week was the amount of Justin Rose jokes I had from the U.S. Open. I couldn't use any of them, so I made sure that the other Jeff had some jokes written up for me. So I hope he laid those out for you.
He did. Yeah, no, he didn't miss an opportunity. My worst pick of the season in gaming golf history, possibly in my life even. I don't know if much worse than that.
That's golf though, man. It was funny because I went to the tournament, I walked up and I saw Rose was playing. I was like, oh, we're gonna follow this group. And he just looked lost. But I mean, that's golf, man. You get some weeks where just guys are lost. It just happens.
Yeah, for sure. So but Detroit, and I gotta disagree with you right away, Jeff. This is not a bad tournament. You cannot have a bad event in the great state of Michigan.
Oh no! Here we go again.
I just want to get that in there early. Many great storylines abound this week, and of course, starting with the defending champion and king of content, Bryson DeChambeau, being in the field this week, immediately levels the event up one from wherever it would be without him. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. We don't have his sparring partner, Brooks Koepka, this week, unfortunately. Brooks did win the Brooks versus Bryson battle last week. And then Harris English did win. I think they just finished the playoff just now. Playing that 18th hole for the 17th time in a row was really wild to see. But at any rate.
And your pick last week, right? Didn't you settle on English?
I did settle on English. You're right.
So I talked to you. We didn't want to both take Scotty Scheffler. So in the interest of being different, that's all it took. So you've
and I used him in one and done, and I used him in DraftKings as well. So that was fun. I did not use I did not use Kramer Hickok in that as any part of my lineup or anywhere. I did not think of him. I did not mention him. I did not acknowledge his existence. But did you know he's friends with Jordan Spieth? I think I learned that from the broadcast there the other day. But,
who knew?
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah.
Good pick.
I am wearing a Michigan shirt today, by the way. I don't know if you can see it. It is Arcadia Bluffs. I have played that course.
It looks like a Michigan State shirt. If we're being honest,
I thought it was Spartan Green. I thought you were just rubbing that in my face for a second.
No.
Right, Arcadia Bluffs. I've not been actually. It's a hole in my bucket list, but I've heard nothing but great things. So, did you play it or did you just get the shirt?
Oh, I loved it. We played 36 there. It was fantastic. Part of that trip, we also did Forest Glen, where he did the classic course, and we did the loop. Although we only did 1/18 of the loop, so we didn't reverse the course, which is like half the experience. So we kind of didn't do it right. We should have stayed there for a couple of days. Beautiful facility there too. But anyhow, let's look at this week. The big thing here this week is that it's a smaller field. I mean, not a smaller field, but it's smaller on the big names. Only 2 in the top 10. Only, I think, 3 or 4 in the top 25, and it drops off pretty quickly. The 2 big names are Bryson and Patrick Reed. You got another big name in Webb Simpson, not having as big of a year. However, Masters winner Hideki Matsuyama is in the field, and your 5th 5-figure guy on DraftKings is Will Zalatoris. That it drops off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, it all starts with Bryson. It's like his odds are 8-1, which is insane. It's like, I feel like if you're going to construct a lineup you have to go against Bryson, right? It's too obvious. It's too easy. He's going to be too heavily owned. I think you got to, like, even though he is deserving as the odds-on favorite, the center of the universe until this thing gets going. I don't know that you build a fantasy lineup around him. What do you think, Scott? Am I missing something, or do you just say plug him in and just figure it out?
What do you think, Scott?
Has Scott lost?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, Bryson's obviously the guy that you is the top of the list, deserves to be up there. Winner last year. I think that percentage wise, I can't tell. You guys, can you guys hear me or no?
Yep, we can hear you. All right, Scott's going to check out his technical difficulties, maybe reboot, go exit the room and come back in. We'll bring him back in. It's a little tricky here. The technology makes our life easier, as always. So Bryson at 11.4. Len Hochberg on RotoWire says that he should be up to 12. That it's not priced high enough, believe it or not. But we'll see.
I like that. I like that contrarian take. I mean, to me, it does feel like it is his show. This is like, if you're just going to draw up a Bryson victory, he's already got the course history. I mean, he played well for 64 holes or so at the U.S. Open. So I don't know. I think the conversation starts with him, and it's tempting to just build a lineup around him because you don't want to get left in the dust if he ends up winning this one again.
I think it's all a question of whether or not you can find the cheap guys to build around him. And that often a lot of successful players try to build from the bottom up. Can you find your cheap guys, the guys in the low sevens, high sixes? Can you find one or two of those guys to be able to build around, or are you going to have to kind of go a different? If you can't, then you can't afford the top end. So that's why I'm looking at that. Let's try Scott again here. Scott, what say you on Bryson DeChambeau? Dramatic pause.
Can you guys hear me yet, or do I still have issues? I don't know. I'm talking and I don't know if you guys can hear me. That's weird.
We can hear you, but you're on a little bit of a delay, it seems like. So, I think we talk and then you're like,
oh, weird.
I'm contemplating life. So, at any rate, what do you think on Bryson?
What it does, it really makes
you guys talk for a second. I'm gonna try and figure this out.
No worries, Scott. It does add to the intrigue of his answer, though. Like the dramatic pause. I think I'm going to start using dramatic pauses more. Just one update, just a personal news from me, breaking news as we sort out the technical things, because I do find the pause to be an effective narrative device here. I'm leaning in. I'm just like, I can't wait. This is going to be this is going to be really good. Whatever he's got for us, it's going to be really good. So it's all right. We've had, actually, it's kind of amazing that we've gone this many shows, live on, right? We're live on Twitter at the same time. And we're probably 10, 15 shows in. We've never had a real technical hiccup before.
Including one where you were at the Charlotte airport.
Yeah, that was a high wire act. And I was, unmasking, myself in kind of a lounge area. I was risking not only a technical difficulty, but even just like a security or a situation. So yeah, we got through that one, but you never know. All right. Hi, Scott.
Do I work now? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think you are working. Can you hear us?
I can. Sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on. I've done video chats all morning with no issue. I have no idea what's going on. Sorry.
It actually made for a compelling segment. Just
yeah, I'm sure.
What will Scott say about Bryson is like now probably the single most anticipated moment.
Built up podcast moment ever. Yes.
I think the key is that I don't like guys in the 8,000 this week. So I think it's easy to get up to Bryson and then go down low, but I actually think I'm going to go away. I think I'm going to go Reed and Matsuyama and try and be a little different. I realize that Bryson can kind of blow this out, but I'm a little worried about that back nine at the U.S. Open. He won here in last year, but he was like first in the field in putting and tee to green. Like, it was just an insane week. I don't know. I think he's going to be so popular. He's so expensive. I think that you can go down to Reed, get your second guy a little bit higher, and then attack the 7,000 is kind of the way I think I'm going to build this week.
Especially because Reed's never popular.
Everybody hates him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that usually contributes to lower ownership too. So I get it. So I think that makes sense. All right, let's look at the other guys in this grouping here. Zalatoris. I mean, we never see him in the 5 figures, but he's 17-20. Hasn't been quite the same as his remarkable run earlier. But are we interested? Is it worth our time to kind of pay up for him, or is this kind of fool's gold?
Well, I mean, statistically, you'd say he's still the profile fits where he's due to win something somewhere soon, and we've got kind of a depleted field around him. So, but I really like Patrick Reed this week a lot. I think it's the high price contrarian pick. If I listen closely during the silence when we were waiting for Scott to answer about Bryson, I could hear Patrick Reed music playing in the background. And he's actually my favorite off this group, if you're not going to just plug in Bryson and figure it out.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Zalatoris the last couple of weeks scares me a little bit. He's lost shots gained total on the field the last couple of weeks. So, we saw that hot streak, and I wonder, I just don't think I want to jump in on him at the price. If he was lower, I take the risk. Obviously, he's an elite ball striker, but it's just not there at the moment. I know that Torrey's tough and all that, but he didn't play very well at the Charles Schwab either. I think I go Reed and I go Hideki over Zalatoris this week.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then the other guy that's in 5 figures is Webb Simpson, and he's been bothered by the neck, didn't make the cut at the U.S. Open. Placed 30th in the PGA, and he's played twice since April 15th. Those 2 major events. That's all. He withdrew from one event, but we haven't seen a whole lot of him. Kind of hard to buy into Webb Simpson right now.
No, I agree. Not at this price. I think, sitting in between Zalatoris or Reed, those look more appealing to me.
Yeah, I think the across the board was bad enough at the U.S. Open that I'm going to probably sit and wait here. I mean, he was bad. He lost strokes, tee to green, off the tee, approach, and putting. Like, that's pretty much running the gamut right there. So I probably wait. I acknowledged that in this field he could definitely win it, but not something I'm going to spend the money on.
Okay.
Well, so it's almost default Decky and Reed then, unless you really want to feel the go in the Bryson route. Let's go on to the next level here. The 9,000s. You got Neiman at 9.8, Kokrak at 9.5, Sungjae Im at 9.3, Bubba Watson, who gave you the full Bubba experience last week, at 9.2, Matthew Wolff, great U.S. Open, awful last week at the Travelers at 91, and Keegan Bradley at 9,000. Jeff Ritter, we'll go to you first. What do you think?
I'm not ready to abandon Matt Wolff yet. I think with the swing and, it's going to be an up and down ride, but it was up at the U.S. Open. It's down last week. 91, right? I can't tell if that's a 1 or a 7. I wrote 91.
91.
Not a bad price. Not a bad price. So he was a guy I flagged first out of the 9,000 tier.
Yeah, and obviously finished second here last year,
yes.
Only to Bryson. So course history is good too. Scott, what say you?
Yeah, I can't go with Wolff. I get it, but he's just so up and down. I mean, he was so bad last week, and he was bad 2 weeks ago at the Genesis. Then he was good at the U.S. Open. A lot of shots gained putting, which helped huge there. He's bad around the green too. He's lost strokes around the green 7 straight weeks, and I just can't do it right now. If I'm going in this range, I actually kind of like Sungjae Im, who has kind of struggled this year, but has been really a lot better the last couple weeks. He made the cut at the U.S. Open. You look at tee to green approach, really good the last 2 weeks. So I think maybe he may have figured out what he was struggling with. I think Neiman's going to be popular, but I think Kokrak's going to be really popular at 9,500. I think a lot of people are going to be on Kokrak too, both in the betting markets and DFS. But I'm gonna pivot a little bit here. I think this to me is be some Wolffs and some Kokraks. I'm going to go Sungjae. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm catching that the upward swing again.
Okay, I like it. And there has been a lot of positive buzz on Kokrak. I've seen on Twitter already. Jeff Feinberg likes him, and that's going to move markets a little bit for sure. Kokrak did win at the Schwab, didn't make the cut at the Open. In fact, missed it pretty badly. In fact, really blew up on the second day there. So we'll see about him. But yeah, I think he will be heavily owned. What about Keegan Bradley? He's right at 9,000. He seems like one of those guys that this is the type of tournament for him, if that makes sense. It's not a great field. It's not an especially tough course. He can ball strike pretty well. He doesn't have to worry about his putting holding him back. I know the last 2 tournaments haven't been good for him, but this doesn't seem to me like a course where the greens are going to punish him that much.
It's so, of course, that a birdie fest is like lined up for him. I'm a little bit worried about the last 2 missed cuts. He's a guy to me that you really want on good form. We talked about him, week after week. He had three top 20s in a row. He made a bunch of cuts in a row. I worry just a little about current form at the price. I think I'm probably just I don't have a problem with him, and he's a guy that could flash. He hit the ball approach well yesterday or last week or at the Travelers, but bad in the greens. But I just think there's other guys in the range that I prefer this week. I'm a little bit worried about the current form.
All right, cool. If you do the 2 and the 10s, you're probably not touching the 9s anyhow, though, just because you can't afford it. So that's one way to kind of gloss over all of this a little bit there. Let's move on to the next tier. At 89, we got Jason all day. Charlie Hoffman withdrew, so Jeff is already lacking his talking point. Rickie Fowler is at 87, pitch man and everything for Rocket Mortgage. Gary Woodland's at 86, Kisner's at 85, Homa 84, Higgo 83, Emiliano Griot at 82, Tringali's at 81, and Siwoo Kim and Phil Mickelson are both at 8,000. Scott, you said you didn't like this tier. Elaborate, please.
I don't. I think that maybe one guy in this tier, but I'm not. A lot of times we talk about weeks where I want like 3 guys in the 8s and a guy in the 9s, something like that. I think that 1 in the 10s, maybe 1 here, and then you get the mid 7s works well. The guy that I do like is Gary Woodland. I think that gained shots tee to green in 4 of his last 5, hit the ball really well off the tee at the U.S. Open, did not play well around the greens, but gained 3.5 shots off the tee at the U.S. Open. And that's as you look at last year's results of this tournament, like guys off the tee that gained strokes really, really had an advantage. Wide fairways, the rough's not that high. So if you can bomb it down there, and Woodland's a guy that can do that. I really like him in this range. I think there's going to be a lot of people on Max Homa. I'm a little worried about the up and downness of his play recently. Higgo's interesting at 8,300, obviously, off that win, but then he didn't play well after that. So it's just a matter of 2 missed cuts. But I like Gary Woodland. He's my favorite play in this weekend, or in this range at 8,600.
Woodland's good. Woodland was my second choice in this range. I would jump on to Kevin Kisner here. I think he's a streaky player. But certainly a guy with no backup, not afraid to make a lot of birdies, which is what this course is going to demand. I like the fact that he shot 63 twice last week, and also he was, I believe, a top 5 at this event last year. So he's got some course history. He knows he can play it. He's an up and down player, but at that price, I like him, 8,500. And I will, my other PSA, I don't think Rickie Fowler is just going to fade into the darkness this year, but I don't like him at 8,700. But I think at some point he's going to come in.
Why is he 8,700? He was 7,300 last week, and an interesting play. And he missed the cut, but he played terribly on Friday, and all of a sudden he's 8,700. See, I guess it's the weakness of the field. But, but the field wasn't that elite last week. He was 7,300. I thought that was a weird price up. It's just a matter of he played really well 2 tournaments in a row, then played okay, and then just bombed out on Friday. Do you guys take that one round and toss it out, or you take that one round like you start to get worried a little bit again?
I don't know. There's just other guys I like in this range. I think it will come back. I think he will be back, but I'm. If he was the same price as last week, I think I might risk it again, even though I got burned last week. But 8,700 is just too much for me.
Speaking of burned last week, I was on Emiliano Griot. He missed the cut last week. Ryan Roof, friend of RotoWire, says Emiliano Griot from this tier. He's priced pretty affordably still at 8,200. I liked a lot of his stats going into last week, and it just didn't happen last week again at the Travelers. He did shoot a 65 though in round 2 on Friday. So there's reason if you don't have to squint too much to see reason for some hope.
My only thing I got off of him, and I think Ryan Roof might be related to me on Griot. He brings him up every week on Twitter, so I think he might be a big fan. He's actually lost. I like Ryan Roof, by the way. It's a friendly banter there. He's lost strokes off the tee in 4 of 5 weeks. That worries me a little bit in a course where off the tee is a huge factor. At least it was last year. That was the one thing that got me off Griot in this range. Just he's not hitting the ball off the tee very well.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's move on to the vast middle. There's so many guys in the 7,000s, we can't possibly name them because it would just take up 2 minutes of the podcast. So let's do it another way instead. Tell me 2 or 3 guys you like in this tier and who is the trap. We'll start with you, Scott. Who are a couple guys you like in the 7,000s? Since especially if you're not fishing in the 8,000s, you're going to be fishing in this tier instead.
I think this is a big tier for me this week because I want to play a 10 and a 9 or something like that, and then a bunch of. If you go like I forget, I did Reed and think I did Reed, and I forget who it was, but I did Reed in the 9,000 guy. I think it was Sung Jae, and I found it was like 7,500 was the average for the other four. So this is a tier I'm definitely attacking this week. I like Shez Reavie a lot at 7,600, hitting the ball really well the last 2 weeks. In a tournament like this, I'm kind of just looking in this range for current form. You know, you're going to have scars on all these guys, but give me a guy who's hitting it well. Shot gain tee to green 5.7, 7.8, 8.7 the last 3 weeks. He's lost strokes putting the last week, so he hasn't been great putting, but hitting it really well. He'd missed 6 cuts in a row. They made the last 3, so I just like the current form. I like Jeff Ritter's pickup this week in our fantasy league. Kyle Stanley made 5 straight cuts, struggling their greens a little bit, but heavy gains in tee to green and approach in 3 of the last 4. He's gained off the tee in 7 straight tournaments, which is a stat we're really looking at here this week. And one more guy I'll go a little bit lower is Hank Leviota. I like him at 7,200. Made 5 straight cuts. He's putting the ball really well. That always scares me a little bit, but gain shots tee to green in 5 straight. And at this price range, 7,200, you're kind of looking for anything you can squint at to make someone make sense. So Leviota, Reavie, Stanley, and a little Mav McNeely in there are kind of my 4 guys in the 7,000s that I really like this week.
Wow, this is the first time in a long time we've gone through an entire tier and not overlapped at all.
Oh, nice!
Wow,
I like it.
awesome.
I am on. I first name I circled was Sepp Straka, and my notes say the Austrian Matt Kuchar. That's what I've now. That's what I'm going with. It's just a backdoor top 10 after backdoor top 10 with this guy. I'm onto him, including last week's backdoor top 10. I don't like the profile for the course, so he was the first guy I highlighted at 7,700. On DraftKings. I got Alex Noren, same idea, just very quietly going about his business, ringing up top 25s. I think he's got a little course history here, although I didn't get that in my notepad in time. But Noren's just another guy. Both those guys are just like they're lurking in those top 15, top 20s week after week. This is the tier to grab them. And then I got Doc Redman, second place a few weeks ago. Congaree. Another guy who's kind of streaky. I feel like he's kind of a darling of DFS games. He's just, he's another guy that often outperforms his price. So, and then finally for Narrative Street, Kramer Hickok. He's probably a trap if you're looking for the trap of this tier. But if you're looking for a fun guy to root for, karmically he's owed one. That's about all I've got. I think typically, I've said this before, I avoid guys off like a major championship victory or a life-changing moment. I think what happened with Hickok last week qualifies as a life-changing moment, even though it didn't win. So I might stay away unless you just – I do like him at 100-1 odds for a straight ticket bet just for fun. But I'd probably avoid him in DFS.
To answer Jeff's initial question, I actually do think you mentioned Doc Redman. I actually think Doc Redman will be popular, and I think he's the trap in this range.
Wow. And, he was second 2 years ago, 21st last year. Good course history. Second at the Palmetto. Was bad over the weekend last week, but still made the cut. I don't know. I like current form. That's for sure. I think he's kind of interesting. So I was kind of on Redmond. Now I'm going to be I make Squerrickson back again this week after getting something right last week. So
lost shots off the tee 4 straight weeks. Lost shots tee to green 3 of 4 weeks.
Okay.
Just played really well at Palmetto this week. I will give you that. He still lost shots off the tee that week, but I actually don't think his current form is as good as people think.
Okay. One other name, just because he was big in the news cycle at the U.S. Open. And that's Mackenzie Hughes, who hasn't done – he shot an opening around 67 last week and then got worse as the tournament went on. Barely – he made the cut and, only was 76 – finished way deep in the money here. But he's only 7,200 this week, and I feel like he's a pretty good bet to at least make the cut. Underwhelming result.
It's hard because he played so well at Torrey and was so bad – for like 2 months before that. So yeah, I mean, if the current form is there, he's a guy that can flash and can actually have a chance to be in a top 20 kind of guy. 7,200, I think that's enough that I think he's playable there.
All right. Let's go even deeper. 2019 chap, Nate Lashley is at 6,900. Frankly, just because of course history, I'm surprised he's not a little higher. Although, I mean, obviously he's not got great recent form. Anybody else in the 6,000s that you guys like? Jeff, we'll go with you first.
Satoshi Kodaira. I might need a ruling on that. But
Kodaira.
It is Kodaira. Yeah. Guy it hasn't been a big year for him, but there he was co-leading after 36 holes last week. So the fact that you can get him under 7,000, I like that a lot. And then I always keep my eye out for collegians or amateurs who are just coming out this summer. This is the time where, they're through the US Open. So they turn in the AM card and go for it. Austin Eckroat, Oklahoma State star.
Yeah.
$6,700, ready for the spotlight. He's done everything you could do in college. And now he's stepping in and going to hopefully cash a check this week. I think he also played last week. I gotta look up if he made that cut or not, but he's just someone I'm just going to watch and just see if it can come together for him quickly. Cause it feels like every summer there's a college player or two where it does. And he certainly has the profile from his college career.
Yep. Finished 47th last week.
He did make it. Okay.
Jeff beat me to it. Yep.
I have to contribute something to the conversation. Scott, who do you like in the 6,000s?
So it's interesting that Jeff mentioned Kodaira. I mean, he has 3 top 20s in the last 4 tournaments, but man, he's been putting his ass off. Like the rest of the game is not great, but his putting numbers are insane. The guy that I like down here a little bit, it's 6,700, is actually Joseph Bramlett. The last 4 weeks, he has 2 top 25s, hitting the ball well. Last week, he missed the cut, but hit the ball pretty well, gained on tee to green and approach, just putted really poorly. But finished 25th at Palmetto, 7th at Byron Nelson. Didn't play well in between there. But I think if you squint enough, there's enough that he gained 6 shots off the tee at Palmetto, 4 shots off the tee at Byron Nelson. That's a key stat for me this week. And if I'm kind of squinting and getting someone down here under 7,000, he's a guy that's been hitting the ball well enough the last month or so that I think if you want to kind of go different, get someone low and get a couple of the guys high, I think that Bramlett's a guy that can help you really fit stuff in.
Don't you guys get the feeling that there's going to be one, this is a type of tournament where you get somewhere out of the blue, out of nowhere, that's going to be either contending, if not necessarily winning?
Yeah, either Bryson's going to win or someone that we haven't even thought about is going to win. It feels like one of those weeks.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. All right, let's move to the betting table, the betting sheet here. Scott, we'll start with you this week.
So it's tough. I mean, these guys at the top are so high. Like I can't. I realize that Bryson's a favorite, but I just can't. I can't bet 7-1. I just can't do it. It's too hard to win a golf tournament to do that. Patrick Reed's 12-1. I think that's a little steep too. So I'm actually gonna jump down the card a little bit. I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna have Sungjae at 35-1. I think we're a good enough player that I like those odds. I like Gary Woodland at 55-1. He's someone that I'm definitely gonna be betting on there. And then a couple of guys deeper. I think that Kyle Stanley 85-1 is worth a couple of bucks. I'm definitely going to bet Chez Reavie at 100-1. And then a long shot for a couple bucks. Mito Pereira just got in the field as an alternate. He's won 3 Korn Ferry events already this year. He's 110-1. So they didn't drop in the 300-1 range, but I kind of hope they would. I put $2 on him and be good. But I think a couple bucks there. A guy is playing really well. Obviously don't know a ton about him, but he's had a lot of success at the Korn Ferry Tour. We've seen guys that, come from these tours and play really well a couple years ago with the Hovland and Morikawa and Wolff and all those guys. So guys can win early. I think he's worth a couple bucks, but probably Sungjae and Woodland will be my bigger bets. I'm going to be attacking the mid-range, I think, this week.
I love that sleeper pick. I'm going to look him up as soon as we get off the phone here. I'm on Kevin Kisner, 35-1. I think those are great odds for someone who it might just be coming together just in time. Woodland, same. You show him 55-1. Is that the DraftKings sportsbook where you look at? I was just looking at golf odds.
I was looking at. I just had DraftKings pulled up, and he's 55-1 there.
Okay, well we've got a discrepancy. Golf odds say 40-1, so he looks like an even better bet at DraftKings. So
yeah, shop those lines.
Yeah. Austrian Matt Kuchar is 80-1. Sepp Straka, and then I always save room for Narrative Street for the straight ticket bets. So Kramer Hickok at 100-1. I'll take a shot. See if karma rewards him and myself along the way.
He didn't get robbed though. I mean, he just
parred. I mean,
how many 8-foot putts can a guy make in a week though? Like it's just that can't happen again, right? His putting was insane. It was fun. It was fun though.
It certainly felt like a magic carpet ride.
Yeah.
But for 100-1, I put a few bucks down. It just
sure. We actually have a question in the chat, so we'll throw it out here from Ryan Roof. Noren was really bad at the course last year. Austrian Matt Kuchar has 2 top 11 finishes at the Detroit Golf Club. What do you weigh more, course history or recent form?
I like recent form, personally. I just think going in with confidence, when you're confident, you feel like you can play anywhere. But I think both carry weight. But that's how I look at it.
I'm very, very much recent form. If there are some guys who like are course horse, like Bubba is a guy that there's some courses he just plays really well. And then if you get a US Open, like there are certain types of players you want, but I'm very, very heavily weighted on recent form. I think golf is a sport where if you're hitting it well, there's just so much going on. It's mostly for your confidence. Like golf is such a mental game. For me, it's very much recent form. I'll throw course history kind of in at the end, but it's just a way smaller percentage for me than recent form.
And since we're taking questions today, one more from Kevin says, this is his DFS line. What do you guys think of it? Bryson, Woodland, Kisner, a lot of names we've heard. Leviota, easy for me to say. Cameron Davis and Patrick Rogers. What do you think for this week?
Cameron Davis is a guy that plays well on easy courses, but man, he played so badly at Memorial. Hasn't had a top 25 in like his last 5 tournaments. I'm a little bit worried the fact that he's just not hitting the ball well tee to green. I'd probably go someone else in that range, but the other guys are all playable guys. Patrick Rogers went to Stanford, so I'm good with that one too.
I would probably, I had Rogers flagged off that tier, but I was even further talking myself into Kodaira as we were talking about it. So I would maybe make a sub there for the same price or $100 difference if you can do it.
There you go. I like it. Good stuff there. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign off?
We got to make our one and done picks.
Oh, yes, we do. We do. I haven't done that.
You got to, all 3 of us. I'm going to go ahead and say it's a Kevin Kisner week. Talked about him a lot at the beginning. I just, I got a feeling, and I got to hit something now because Erickson nailed the winner last week and Scott had it a few weeks ago. So it is my time.
My first winner in the one and done this year, either on this forum or in the league that we're in.
Nice.
So it launched me all the way up to like 23rd place in our league. Really bad year.
Well, who you got?
Scott,
I'm going Kisner.
Scott, what say you?
I'm torn. I'm either, if I want to go upside, I'm going to go Reed, but I'm really considering Woodland. But I think I'm trailing all you guys. I had a really good year last year and been rough this year and one and done. So I'm going to go Patrick Reed and burn him now and try and get a win.
Interesting. I'm going to go into your kitchen. I'm going to go Sung J M.
I like it
this week. Go ahead with him. I like the logic behind it there, and hopefully it'll be lesser owned. But I'm looking at like the available players, and he's like number 6 in our little pool.
Yep.
And I could take Kokrak, but I think everyone's going to take Kokrak this week. So that's the only reason why I kind of avoided him.
I probably would have gone Sung Jae if I had him, but I used him before for something. I forget. Right. I think I probably used him in one of the Florida tournaments probably.
All right. Well, there you go. That's going to cover up everything this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comments in the forum here, folks. We do appreciate it there. Like the interaction. We'll be back at you again with the splendor that is the John Deere Classic. Hear that in your Bill Walton voice, the classic of the John Deere. But we'll talk about that too. Good luck in your contest this week. Take care.